Are luxury goods fast fashion? Hello, welcome back to Classics with a Quirk, where I talk about contemporary and luxury designer items and brands with a touch of silliness. If this is the kind of content that you find interesting, please do like this video and subscribe for more of it. Thank you. Are luxury goods fast fashion? Now, this is a video that I've wanted to make for a while, especially in light of recent events in the luxury community and in light of recent events in the fashion world in general in terms of how we view fast fashion and what fast fashion means. Now, I want to preface this by saying, obviously, I don't think that there's anything wrong with luxury. I don't think there's anything wrong with liking or loving luxury. I don't think there's anything wrong with buying luxury and owning luxury. If I did, I would be an absolute hypocrite because I buy and own luxury and I love luxury goods. But I do think that there's something worth discussing in regards to these items, especially in this day and age. And that's what I wanted to discuss today in regards to what fast fashion is and can luxury goods be considered fast fashion, especially now? Now, there was a time when there was absolutely no question as to whether or not a luxury good was considered fast fashion because the answer was unequivocally no. These luxury goods were very expensive pieces that people bought and treasured and cherished and usually had for their entire lives and often passed down throughout the generations. These were well-made, quality pieces that were supposed to withstand the test of time, and they were often handmade by individual artisans who were dedicated to their craft. The very idea of luxury is that it's something special, something to be cared for and treasured, and something that you're supposed to have for a very, very long time. But it feels as though that definition might be changing a little bit. And I don't necessarily think that's for the better or for the worse, but I think that it's worth talking about. Before the early 2000s, we didn't really have the idea of the trend bag or the it bag. It was really in the early aughts that luxury brands started making these very interesting and hip, up-and-coming bags that they then gifted to a lot of personalities, celebrities. Looking back at media for the early 2000s, you can see people like Paris Hilton, Hilary Duff, Britney Spears carrying brightly colored Louis Vuitton bags, brightly colored Gucci bags, interesting Dior bags. This was really the birth of the trend item, the trend piece. And in some ways, it was the birth of luxury goods coming out in quick succession. Now, brands like Louis Vuitton and Chanel have always had multiple seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter, all that sort of thing. But I've noticed recently, especially in Louis Vuitton, for instance, the constant saturation of new pieces coming out and coming out and coming out and coming out. They keep seeming to chase this new trend bag, the new it piece. And it seems like every few weeks that a new colorway or style is coming out in classic bags or new bags. And I think that that is very interesting to me, that luxury brands seem to be chasing the next it piece, kind of in the same way that fast fashion does. When we think of fast fashion, or at least when I think of fast fashion, I think of something that is disposable. I think of something that isn't supposed to last a long time. You buy it, you wear it for a few occasions, and then it's pretty much trashed. You have to get rid of it, or you get sick of it, or the next thing comes along, so you dispose of it in some way. In some cases, that means selling it or donating it. In some cases, it means throwing it out and contributing to massive waste, and that's part of the problem with fast fashion, the massive waste that comes from it. In terms of luxury goods, I've really noticed on social media how often and how quickly influencers and other people in the luxury community go through pieces, go through items, bags, fashion, anything, sunglasses. It seems to be very much built on acquiring now in a way that I don't think that it was before. I think that especially with luxury becoming more trendy, more popular, and not necessarily more affordable because the prices are going up all the time, but something that more people want to try to afford and want to try to bring into their lives, there is more room for these brands to produce more things. And the more things that are produced and the more styles and patterns and colors and shapes that are produced, the more people consume, and then the more people discard. I don't mean discard like throw away, because it's very few people that are throwing luxury goods in the trash. But I do mean that people are buying very quickly still, and they're accumulating and acquiring a lot more than I think that they used to do. I see a lot of influencers who, are gifted it bags and are wearing a different bag every week. And I see people with massive, massive collections. And if that's something that they like and enjoy, I mean, power to them. But it does make me wonder sometimes why these things are being collected. And I also think a little bit there is a difference between somebody who has a 20 bag collection and been acquiring it for years versus somebody who has a 20 bag collection and acquired it in, the last 6 months. I see a lot of people who are doing unboxings and unboxings and unboxings, or different Instagram spreads with a different outfit and a different bag every day. And I wonder about the consumption. Now, is it my business or anybody's business to be saying, you shouldn't be buying all these things, it's bad for you, it's bad for the environment, like how dare you buy 12 Louis Vuitton bags in 2 months? Like, no, that's not my jurisdiction. Like, it's not my right to say you shouldn't be buying these things. But I do think that it's worthwhile to consider how many things now exist, how many Louis Vuitton styles now exist, how many Gucci styles and colors now exist, how many Chanel bags now exist, in terms of the colors that are constantly coming out, the new unicorn piece that everybody seems to want to get, that the resellers are snatching up and selling at a premium. It does really sometimes feel a little bit like the fast fashion frenzy of have to buy the new style, have to have the new shoes, have to have the new coat, have to have the new bag. And these just happen to be luxury bags that are now the new bag that everybody has to have, if you know what I mean. I do think that it's worth considering why we acquire what we do, especially if we're acquiring a lot very quickly. Because really, when it comes down to it, these things shouldn't be considered disposable. In general, I think that fashion shouldn't be considered disposable. I think there's a lot of harm in the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and having Target hauls or Shein hauls or whatever, and just buying dozens of items that you're going to wear once, or it's going to sit in your closet and you won't even wear it all. And just the more that you acquire, the more things have to be made for you to acquire, So even in terms of luxury, if you're always going after the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and these things are very expensive, whether or not you can afford it is not what I'm talking about right now. Please don't put yourself into danger or debt because of luxury. That's not a good idea. But regardless of how you buy these things, why are you buying so many of them? Now, the answer might be because you enjoy having them and you're going to cherish them and use them and have them for a very long time. And the answer also might be because you want it right now and you might not want it in 2 months. And I want to repeat myself in saying that there's nothing inherently wrong with either of those things. But it's the rate of acquisition that I think is sometimes concerning. How many items do you need to have at one time? Or how many items do you need to acquire in one sitting, or in 1 month, or in 1 year? How much is enough? That's the thing. How much is enough for you? Now, I have very mixed feelings about the concept of minimalism, because I think that some people take minimalism absolutely too far, and they have, a chair and 1 fork, and they scorn people who don't have, one singular thing that they use. And I think that doesn't make any sense. I think that there's absolutely nothing wrong with owning things and enjoying things. I own things and enjoy things. Clearly, that's what my channel is about. My channel is about owning and enjoying luxury goods, very expensive items. But I do cherish the items that I have, and I don't think of them as disposable. I don't really think of anything that I own as disposable. Clothing, cheap clothing, expensive clothing, regardless of what it is. So in terms of minimalism, I definitely think that there's merit in having fewer things, nicer things, but fewer of them, and cherishing each one and getting really good use out of each one. Like, I think that that's really ultimately what I strive for when I think about curating a collection or owning things in general. I think that that's, what works for me. It might not work for you. You might be in a position where you need a lot of things because you have, a fashion job or something, or you have people who insist on you wearing a different thing every day, or whatever the reason is. There are reasons for everybody to operate the way that they do. There are reasons that anybody owns 50 different bags or 100 different pairs of shoes. Maybe you work in a shoe company or something and that's just part of your job. Like, I get it. I'm going to keep repeating myself in that there isn't anything wrong with one person doing what works for them because it works for them. I think that ultimately the most important thing is mindfulness. Now, in terms of mindfulness, wrapping back around to do I think or consider luxury fast fashion? Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. I think that ultimately, for people who buy luxury to cherish it and utilize it and have it forever, or at least a very long time, luxury is absolutely not fast fashion. But I do think that the way that some brands are operating, especially Louis Vuitton right now, and sometimes in some cases Chanel, in how many things and how many styles are being produced in an effort to get more people's attention and catch more people's eye, I think that that is dangerous. I think that's kind of bordering on becoming fast fashion. The way that Louis Vuitton is churning out piece after piece after piece and style after style after style and colorway after colorway after colorway, it does really do something, I've found, to collectors. I see a lot of people on YouTube who call themselves collectors, and there's nothing wrong with being a collector, but the rate at which they are acquiring, because Louis Vuitton puts out so many things so quickly, is very, very fast. You know, if Louis Vuitton releases 12 colorways in 2 months and the collectors want to collect because they love Louis Vuitton and they love all the things that are coming out, they very well might acquire 12 things in 2 months. Versus before, when Louis Vuitton was releasing 12 things over a period of several years, you're still acquiring 12 things, but you're acquiring them slower. You're acquiring them slower, and so ultimately you have less, because if you acquire 12 things in 2 months, then acquire 12 more things in 2 more months, you have 24 things in 4 months. If you acquire 12 things in 2 years and you acquire 12 more things in 2 more years, you still have 24 things, but it took you 4 years to get that many things. And so 4 years, you have more time to process, you have more time to purchase, you have more time to really think about what you're getting, as opposed to the FOMO frenzy or the buy quickly frenzy, or everything new is coming out, we have to get the new latest greatest thing, you know? That I think is where it becomes dangerous, and that's where I think that it teeters on the idea of fast fashion a little bit more than what luxury used to denote. I mean, obviously, I think that it's a very nuanced topic and there's a lot of things that can be discussed within it. I'd love for you to add your voice to the conversation and leave a comment down below on your opinion. If you think that my talking points made sense, or if you disagree with me, I really would like to facilitate a conversation. And if you're on YouTube and you make videos, please feel free to make a video addressing this and talking about my points. And if you think that my points are nonsense, then, you know, that's fair and valid too. I think that there's nothing wrong with having a discussion, and I also think there's nothing wrong with having conflicting opinions as long as everybody is civil. So, you know, if you want to discuss this topic and if you want to make a video or leave a comment down below, as I said, please feel free to do so. I'd love to hear your opinion. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And I hope that this video was enjoyable or interesting, and that maybe it made you consider something that you hadn't before, or maybe it got you incensed and you want to yell at me now because you disagree completely. Like, I am cool with all of it. Just please, you know, be civil in the comments, be civil in your videos. I would just appreciate that we all aren't mean. If you like this video, please do give it a like, because it super duper helps the algorithm, and subscribe for more content because it helps the algorithm even more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.